show. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he's running to be the next president of the United States. Please welcome Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Now, Mr. Mayor, when did you declare your candidacy for president?
So we announced our exploratory committee 3 weeks ago yesterday.
Okay, and what does that mean? That means you're exploring to see whether you will run? What is exploratory? People
That's right.
start with that, but does that
Yeah, you get known, you raise the money, you put the organization in place, and as the signs continue pointing to yes, then one big day you have your launch.
Now, is this your appearance on my show? Is this part of the exploratory committee?
We're exploring, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't have a pith helmet for us.
Nice place you got here.
Thank you very much. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, tell the people who you are.
Sure. So I'm 37 years old, born and raised in South Bend, which is a great city in the industrial Midwest. I'm a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. I'm in my 8th year as mayor, and I just opened an exploratory committee to run for president.
Now, did you say 37?
Yes, sir.
37. That would, if you were to win, you would be the youngest president in American history, younger than TR.
Yeah.
What's the rush? Why run for president now? Why not get a little more salt and pepper in the hair and a little more moss under the soles of your feet before you run for president?
Well, I don't think you do this because you want to do it someday. I think you run for any office because you think the needs of the office meet the moment and what you bring to the table. And, you know, in many ways, I think being from a younger generation, it's one of the main reasons to do this. You know, I belong to the school shooting generation. I was in high school when Columbine happened. We're the generation that provided most of the troops for the conflicts after 9/11. We're the generation that's going to be on the business end of climate change. And if nothing changes economically, we'll be the first generation ever to make less than our parents. So I believe that no one has more at stake right now than younger people coming up. And I think a lot about the way the world's going to look in 2054, when I reach the current age of the current president. Why not have somebody in there who actually views the condition of the country in that year as a personal issue, not somebody else's problem?
Now, you're the mayor of South Bend. Yeah. How big of a town is that?
We're just over 100,000. Just
over 100,000. And the next job you would like is to be president of the United States and the leader of the free world. And I don't say that necessarily as a joke. Just that's a big leap.
Look,
it's not as big a leap as a reality show host to president.
Clearly.
But it is a big leap, you'll admit.
No, it is, but when you think about it, I mean, yes, look, it's audacious, almost obscene for somebody my age, but really any human being to think they belong in that office. And yet everybody who's had that office has been a mortal human being who's brought their experience to the table. I have more experience in government than the president. I have more executive experience than the vice president. I have more military experience than anyone to arrive at that desk since George H.W. Bush. I know it might sound a little cheeky as the young guy in the race, but largely this is about my experience. You know, as a mayor, you're on the front lines. You are responsible for everything. One minute it's Parks and Rec. The next minute it's an officer-involved shooting with racial sensitivity. You have to handle it all. And you understand that the job of executive leadership in government is making policy, yes, capably running an administration for sure, but also just bringing people together. And all three of those elements are just sorely missing in the current occupant of the White House.
This is all true. This is all true. You would also, if elected, you would be the first openly gay president of the United States. Yeah. And as I said, when we first talked about you announcing, when we were talking about it in a monologue last week, I said, what I really like about America right now is that's like the third thing I learned about you. You know, that's no longer like the banner headline on somebody who wants to run for public office. Do you see yourself as a trailblazer in this way?
I mean, on one hand, I'm very conscious of the historic nature of a candidacy like that. And I do hope that it makes it, if nothing else, it makes it easier for the next person who comes along. But I also think that you know, we need to work toward a world where it's not newsworthy at all. Like, I envision a future state, you know, it was really hard figuring out how to come out. I was mayor already. I'd kind of reached the point in life where I wanted to come out. I wanted to have a personal life. Inconveniently, I was in the middle of a re-election campaign, and I just decided it was time to do it. And we didn't know what the politics would be. I'm from a socially conservative community. But I just came out there, said who I was, and I wound up getting reelected with 80% of the vote. At a time when...
Was Mike Pence governor at the time?
Yeah, Mike Pence was the governor at the time.
Did you work with Mike Pence?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the job of a mayor to work with anybody who can benefit the city. So
good guy? Would I like him?
If he's nice, I mean, if he were here, you'd think he's a nice guy to your face, but he's also just fanatical. He really believes. I mean, he's written that, you know, cigarettes don't kill, and I think he seems to think the universe was created a few thousand years ago, and that people like me get up in the morning and decide to be gay. And the thing about it is, if that was a choice, it was a choice that was made way above my pay grade. And so what he doesn't realize is that his quarrel is with my creator. My marriage has moved me closer to God, and I wish he respected that.
Well, let's talk presidential for a second. Donald Trump looks like he's declaring a national emergency. What is your definition of national emergency? He's saying the border, the caravans,
yep.
The supercars. His words, not mine. What is your idea of a national emergency?
Look, as a mayor, you know a thing or two about emergencies. Let me tell you about 2 times we had to activate the Emergency Operations Center in South Bend. They were 18 months apart. One was for a 1,000-year flood, and one was for what we were told was a 500-year flood, which either means I have preposterous statistical luck, or we have a problem with climate change that's not just happening on the North Pole, it is happening in communities like mine. That's an emergency.
Well, you've got a new book. It's called The Shortest Way Home. Pete Buttigieg, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Mayor. Good luck with your campaign. We'll be right back.